Hi everyone, it's me Jo, and today I'm investigating my non-surgical enhancement series with a skincare focus. Now, as you guys know, I have been doing this for an awful long time. I've been posting my beauty guides for nearly 9 years on my YouTube channel, and I have been really open with my whole story with acne, because when I was in school, I had terrible acne and nothing that I went to the doctor really could cure it. I was on antibiotics for a long time. I was on things like erythromycin, I was on trimethoprim, I was on oxytetracycline, and I went through different types of antibiotics to try and routinely figure out which one works best for what, because at the time I was modelling, so I was trying to arrange things around a specific day that I would do, I'd have my best skin. So it was awful, really. It was something that I was really insecure about, and it was the worst thing for me in terms of my makeup application, because I couldn't get my makeup smooth. So I was really into finding out ways of fixing this. Now, I went into a whole process of going on something called Accutane. It's also known as isotretinoin or Accutane, and the name has changed slightly over the years. Basically, what this stuff is it is a vitamin A derivative. It's a drug that's prescribed over the course of 6 months initially, and you are meant to be prescribed this based on your weight. So you take certain amounts of tablets based on how much you weigh. Was I weighed? This is the answer that you guys will be surprised by. No, I was not. So I went through the NHS, and my experience in the NHS is just as I'm going to give you today. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And the reason for this is because I was actually misprescribed the antibiotics for such a long period of time that it could have had some really negative effects. If you're on antibiotics for a long time, you can build up an immunity to them. So when you actually need them, they won't work. So they were incompetent in doing that to begin with. The second thing with this is they should have probably put me forward to go to a dermatologist and get on Accutane much earlier. The reason why they didn't is because at the time there was a lot of strange sort of rumours and stories circulating about what this drug actually did to people, and it was all about the side effects of taking it, and that's the side effects if they're not administered correctly. And I probably should have just gone on a course when I was in school, got it nipped in the bud and changed my skin forever, because the benefit of this drug is it did change my skin forever. Never had acne since. I have found out about this amazing service, and I wanted to actually give you a little bit of information about them, because anyone out there that's suffering from acne might find it very useful. This is actually a process that I think you guys might be interested in, because you can do it during lockdown as it's remote. It's a new, wonderful service. So this whole procedure is done by a company called Tretdirect. Now, what this actually does is it eliminates all of these nasties that can happen when you're either on the NHS waiting list, you're not being treated properly, or you actually want to access this in private. You want to go through a route that's more accessible, and obviously you pay for it. It's not the same as going on the NHS, but they are much more rigorous in their whole experience of treating you. I actually went through a dummy consultation with one of the doctors on Tretdirect just to really get my head around what the process was really. And I explained to him my whole history of this, what my concerns are now. And obviously today I'm not a candidate for isotretinoin. My skin has no acne, so there's no issues with that whole with me. I'm giving this for you guys, basically. I went through the process to share with you because I really want you guys to know what your options are when it comes to this stuff. And I think had someone told me what the side effects were of taking this thing, I would have been much more informed from the get-go, which I was not. And I didn't know how bad I was being mistreated. So the way that this works is you take this medication based on how much you weigh. So me and my sister both had acne, and we were both going to the dermatologist at the same time. So she's very little compared to me. I'm 1.5 foot taller than she is. So we obviously weigh very differently. We were on the same dosage, and it was only after the first 3 months of being on it that we realised something was askew, and I could not see the doctor till the 6 months. So I was being given this very low dosage of isotretinoin, which really did nothing apart from dry my skin out, didn't stop my acne at all, and there were no blood works. So the most important thing with this drug is to have blood works that are regular, that check they're not doing any damage to your liver, because a lot of drugs can. And they didn't check me. I couldn't get an appointment. I couldn't find the doctor to figure out what was going on. And then after 6 months, I went back and said, hi, something's wrong here, because I've been prescribed significantly less than I think I should be because my sister's on this dosage and she's tiny compared to me. So what's going on here? And what they basically said to me was, oh, well, let's weigh you today. And because you get a certain amount of allocated to you over the course of 12 months, we'll just top you up what you missed. So for the next 6 months, after this whole 6 months where I was underdosed, I then was put on a much higher dose that was alternating every day. So one day I take 3 tablets, the next day I take 2, one day 3, next day 2, or whatever the routine was. I think it was doubled up. There you go. And those 6 months were horrific. So this steep incline of what I was actually given to take by my doctor gave me the side effects that you can get on this medication in the extreme. Those were significant joint aches, significant back aches, regular nosebleeds. I was feeling funny in myself. I wasn't my normal personality because I think it was just causing so much stress to my body. It was making me really grumpy. And everything about this whole experience was just a terrible, terrible, terrible experience. And I only got checked for my blood works at the very end once. And throughout this procedure, I couldn't wear makeup because as soon as I would actually cleanse my skin with something gentle, it would be terribly, terribly damaging to my skin. And the risk of doing it like this can actually do a lot of damage. The way that the medication should work, if administered correctly, which is actually how Tretdirect do it, is they will weigh you. They'll work out how much you actually should have. And over the course of 6 months, you take a low dosage for 2. You then slowly increase to a moderate dosage for 2. And then you go back down for 2. So they can assess which works best for you because they don't want to give you too much of this stuff that could develop side effects. They actually want you to be with full clarity of what can happen. And also when you are cisgender female, you actually have to have pregnancy tests routinely because if you do get pregnant or you do conceive while taking this drug, it can actually affect your baby. So there's lots of things that they are very hot on, which I think is very impressive because it gives you actually the full capability to make an educated choice whether you wanted to create this type of decision with your acne or not. It changes the way your skin produces oil. So it actually affects that permanently. It's often very rare to have a repeat prescription of this because once you go through your entire treatment plan and if you work with these doctors and you see a great result in 6 months, that's it. They're actually at your disposal to contact. So you're not in a situation where you actually have to book an appointment, have to wait. You can book a FaceTime. You can actually go through this over FaceTime. And the whole experience was just so much more transparent, so much more easier and more accessible. When you book this privately, what you actually have to do is you have to buy each section of this, each test, each appointment separately, whereas they do it all in one. This is the most cost efficient way I've actually seen of actually getting this if you wanted to go through a private thing, and they offer much, much, much more rigorous testing points and things that actually help you with your process. There's no risk of anything dodgy with the medication, no counterfeit medication, because people are actually going to strange means to get Accutane now because the waiting list with the NHS is so bad. Sometimes the NHS will cancel your treatment halfway through, and if you're in a situation like I went through, it was just bad luck, really. I'm not saying that every dermatologist on the NHS is going to do this, but that's what happened to me. It wasn't great, and it was really, really, really unsafe and could have permanently damaged my liver. It should have been handled properly. You have to eat food with this type of medication because it's oil dissolving. So if you were, for example, to have it with a glass of water on an empty stomach, it could do less good for you. Do you know what I mean? They need to tell you these things, which Tretdirect do. So there's lots that go into this. Hopefully that was informative. Let me know what you think about your acne experience below. Definitely check out Tretdirect and see if it's actually a good option to you. So very, very interesting. A great addition to my acne series, and hopefully you like the lighting because I've given you a full no base today, just a little bit of powder. So shall we zoom in? And freckles visible, can we see? So this is my skin today. So no nasties. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that cool acne video today. It's been a long time since I've done an acne video, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Please check them out, Tretdirect, and I will see you all in my next video.